What if your confusion isn't a flaw, but it's actually a clue that you are meant for something greater? Maybe you're like me, and right now you're on a path of discovery. You're trying to remember who you are, what you were meant for, what you were designed for, what you were created for, what your purpose is in life, and the impact that you're here to make on this earth. You see, I don't believe that any one of us was here to just live and die. We're all put here for a reason, made uniquely by God in order to fulfill the bigger picture and the masterpiece that is at work that most of us don't even know what that is, but we all play a very intricate role in that, all the way from the janitor up to the CEO, and you fit along in that mission as well. And so I want to talk today about discovering what your identity is, discovering what your purpose is, because a lot of times we get our identity wrapped up in the job title that we have. I mean, think about it. In a world where personal branding is the new fad, the new trend that everyone's chasing, it's easy to identify yourself within the role that you work in, or identify yourself based with the company that you have, or if you're a business owner, the companies that you own. And think about it this way: if you go to meet somebody, one of the first questions that you probably get asked is, "Hey, what do you do?" What do you immediately describe? You probably describe what your profession is. We assume that our identity is wrapped up in the profession of what we do, when really your identity is wrapped up in the purpose that you were designed for. And that's a hard concept to understand. You see, I was with my wife one time, and we were visiting her family in San Diego, and we went to a vineyard there. And as we're all sitting and talking, I can't help it. I'm just this kind of person. I have to listen into everybody else's conversations as well. I'm nosy. What can I say? But while we're sitting there at the restaurant, I overhear a conversation happening at the table next to me. And there was this man talking to a younger guy. It seemed like he was probably, 20s or something like that. And a little bit of an older man, but they're just having a conversation. And this is where I actually heard this concept for the first time, of the fact that when you meet people, you immediately start describing what your job is when they ask you, what do you do, instead of describing who you are. You see, what you do and who you are completely different things, but we identify and we start to blend the two together in our identity that we put out for other people. So within having this conversation, he's explaining to this guy that, hey, think about it. When somebody asks you, what do you do, or who are you, or you go to introduce yourself, you immediately start talking about your job and your profession. But reality is you're more than that, right? You should take on the liberty of explaining what your mission is. Think about the difference in the reframework of the mindset there, to go from, hi, my name is Cameron Smith, and I'm a leasing agent and a real estate agent and an author and blah, 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 blah. And it's almost like this laundry list of accomplishments and tasks and things that you do, versus, hey, my name's Cameron Smith. I'm a mission driven individual that's just looking to impact a million people in a positive way. Oh, well, how do you do that? Oh, I do that through X, Y, and Z, right? It's a different kind of mindset there. The jobs, the tasks, the businesses, all of that is just a tool for you to accomplish what your mission is. And your mission is just a byproduct of what you feel your purpose is here on earth. So your identity is not wrapped up in your job title. Your identity is actually wrapped up in your design. You see, if I were to take a blueprint model of you, and we were to look at this and see the fabric of who you were created to become, this at your core is who you are and who you should present to the rest of the world. It's not the job title that you're going to have. Because here's the thing: even working a job right now is not the same as it was 20, 30 years ago. It used to be, when you get out of high school, you get out of college, you enter into the job force, you're planning on staying in that career for 30, 40, 50 years, all the way until retirement. Now, the average American probably has two and a half jobs, two full times and a side gig, just to get by and pay the bills. And think about how many times you're jumping from job to job to job. I've seen hundreds of resumes where it's not that they stay in one role in one position for 20, 30, 40 years. It's they're at this place for 6 months, they're at another place for 5 months, they're at another place for a year, they've been at this place for 1 week, and on and on and on. So if you are wrapping your identity up in what you do, man, I can see why you would be confused. You're jumping from thing to thing to thing. So if you wrap your identity up in that, how can you truly know who you are and who you are meant to be? What you do is just a tool for you to accomplish what your mission is. So first you have to get clear on what that mission is, and that mission is going to be tied in true to who you really are and who you feel like you were designed to be. Your identity isn't found in your job title. It's found in your design. So in order for us to discover more of who we were meant to be, you have to take a look. You have to look intrinsically at yourself and see the things that fuel you, the things that motivate you, but also the things that frustrate you as well. Because sometimes that frustration can be fuel for you to do something bigger. You see, there have been many times where I'm working a job or I'm in a specific role, and just like anybody, you deal with your frustrations, you deal with your day-to-day headaches, you deal with, the clients that make things a little more difficult, or the manager that makes you wish that you would just go start your own thing so that we don't have to deal with being told what to do, or you're dealing with a difficult employee and you just can't understand why they don't get it. But when you look at the frustrations, that can be fuel for you if you use it the right way. You see, a frustration can either continue to be a frustration, or that frustration can become fuel. And what do we do with that fuel? We use it in order to go, in order to move, to create action, to create movement. So look back at your passions, look back at the pain, and look back at the patterns in your life. Let's start with the passions. What are the things that excite you? What are the things that fire you up, that motivate you? I'm sure if you pinpoint certain moments in your life, not just in your job, but in your day-to-day life, activities that you've gotten to be a part of, trips that you've gotten to take, conversations you've been able to have, relationships you've been able to grow and develop, you've probably found some of those things that fire you up and they excite you. You see, for me, I have a few of those along my list. I used to work in the martial arts industry, like we talked about. And I remember having those moments where a kid has that breakthrough, where maybe they were shy and quiet and scared and hiding behind mom on the very first day coming in for their martial arts lesson. And then a few months later, that kid's bold and brave enough to stand up in front of the class and lead our opening creed that we would say to start every class. That kid has the confidence now to be able to stand up at the front and be able to lead a group through that, when just a few months prior wouldn't even look you in the eye and shying behind mom. Think about what that does for an instructor, for somebody who's been able to be a part of that journey with that kid, to help them develop to become that in that moment. Man, like, it can't even put words to like what that feeling is like. For me, that fired me up then, still fires me up now. I don't know if you can tell, but like, I get excited even thinking about that. And then another part is when I was and then another part is when I was invited in my hometown church to come back to host an event that they do every single weekend. They call it 180 Weekend. And it's an opportunity where they bring middle school, high school students together, and they just have, days of activity, of small groups where they get to connect with with their peers, where they get to have guest speakers, sermons, things like that, all wrapped up into one weekend. It's just this action-packed, completely filled weekend. And I remember my first time getting invited to come host that event, or just be more of an opening host. And the energy that I felt just connecting with those kids and the crowd and the energy and the environment, like, I still think about it till this day. I still have pictures on my phone right now from getting to be able to be a part of something like that. And it was an unforgettable experience for me. And it's something that I'm going to cherish for years and years and years to come. That's a moment that excites me. It fires me up. If I ever got asked to do that again, there's no question I would do it. And I make $0 doing it. It makes me no money doing that. Even back to the martial arts story, like, yes, I got paid to be an instructor, but moments like that are priceless. You can't put a price tag on that. It's those moments that you start to understand who you truly are, what your design is, who you're meant to be, what your mission is, and what your purpose is. But you also find it in the pain. You see, when I first started podcasting, I actually started podcasting because of a pain that I went through. My father passed away a few years ago, And it was a very difficult situation for me. I still, obviously, you would struggle with that even till this day. You know, I still have my moments where I just want to pick up the phone and call them, and I know I can't, and that hurts. Um, but I won't, go too deep into that. But the pain that I felt, yeah, I'm the kind of person, I'm like a balloon. You know, if you blow up a balloon and you put air into it, you continue to blow into it, it continues to fill up and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but it contains all that air up until a point, and then it pops. I feel like I do that sometimes with my own emotions and things that happen in my life. And so, as I'm going through that journey of having to deal with the loss of my dad, that's a tough moment. I realize now that I'm able to use that story and that journey to be able to help other people that walk through similar situations in life. But remember, as I was walking through that, I never really talked to anyone about it. I just kind of internalized it. And after having a conversation with one of my friends who actually went through a similar situation very close to the same time where his mother passed away, we were just having a conversation one day and just talking about how good it feels to just let some of that out and just be able to verbalize it and just talk about it. And that actually sparked the idea for me to start doing a podcast, not to get attention, not to, become a influencer or, social media celebrity or anything like that. It was more of a opportunity for me to just take all of these experiences and stories and things that I've been able to go through in life and just be able to put it out there and just actually let it out and speak it and not feel like that weight's still being held on me. And so that's what I did. I started a podcast, and it was a way. And one of my very first episodes was Pain to Purpose. And I talked about that pain of losing my father and how that felt and how I feel like that actually turned into a purpose for me now to be able to be an influence, to be able to impact other people in a positive way, to be a part of their story and their journey and their healing, and be an encouragement and a light for them. And so I was able to take that pain that I felt and still feel to this day, and I'm able to use it as fuel now to be able to turn into a purpose. So what are some of those painful moments maybe in your life that you've gone through that you probably still don't understand why it happened? But there's a way for you to actually take that story, take that experience, and turn it into something that can be beneficial for you down the road, beneficial for someone else down the road. It doesn't have to be a negative experience. It's only that if you allow it to be. I'm not saying don't feel the pain. I'm not saying don't feel the frustration, the sadness, the anger, all of the things that come within the grief. But is there a way for you to take that and turn it into something purposeful? Or are you just going to continue to let it sit there and be a pain and a burden to you? You have the choice of how you get to use that fuel. And then the last one was the patterns in your life, the trends, so to say, that you notice. You see, for me, I know this about myself. My motivation does this. Even in doing this podcast right now, I told myself I was going to do this 2 months ago, and I've had the idea for 6 months, and I'm just now starting to take action on it. But I know that's because the patterns in my life, I get super motivated and excited. And I want to sit down and bust out some content and get it out there. But then I kind of dip down and I let the naysayer inside my head. I let the doubts start to creep in. Oh, nobody's going to listen. Nobody's going to like it. Oh, why are you doing this? Oh, you're going to get judged for it. Like all these things start to pop into my head. And so I lose motivation. I just don't do it. I sit idle. I scroll on Instagram. I doom scroll. Like some of you guys have probably done it as well, right? You procrastinate. You have an idea of something you know you should do and could do. And instead of doing it, you do something else. When I was writing my first book, same thing happened. I had the idea sitting there for a while, kind of like in an incubator, just sitting there stirring. I would take notes on my phone of things I wanted to talk about. I would start the process, stop the process, start it again, stop it again. And this was a consistent trend over and over and over again until I forced myself to break that cycle. So in the patterns that we have in our life, we're actually able to take action through that and be able to convert it into something that can benefit us. So I knew I have the pattern of going up and down, high motivation, lack of motivation. But the choice was mine to be able to break that pattern when I notice the trend starting to happen again and actually convert it to take action to create something better. See, you know yourself better than anyone else knows you. Okay. You know yourself better than anyone knows you. People may know you and your trends and your patterns and your thought, your feelings and the way you behave and act and all of that, but they don't know what's going inside of that head of yours. They'll say they do, but nobody really knows unless they're actually on the inside. And that's you. So no one knows you better than you. So if you know yourself that well, then you are able to recognize when certain patterns start to show face again. And then you have the conscious choice to be able to make a difference in the face of that. That's a choice that only you can make. So I have a question for you. When do you come alive? When do you feel excited? When do you feel motivated? When do you feel like you're on fire and you're excited about what's to come tomorrow? Where are those moments in your life where you feel like that? Explore it, dig deep into it, document it, journal it, write it down. Actually, that's my challenge for you. Take 3 experiences in your life that you've had where you felt like that moment, that experience lit you up and lit a fire under you. Maybe it was when you had your firstborn child, or maybe it was the pain of losing a child. Because remember, the pain can work too. Maybe it was an event or a conference that you got to attend. Maybe it was a job promotion that you had. Maybe it was a new experience, a trip. Document the 3 things in your life where you felt like you came the most alive and you got excited about what was to come, or you got more intentional, or maybe it just lit a fuel under you so strong that you're like, I never want this to happen again, or I'm going to take this pain that I'm going through right now and I'm going to make sure that I use this in a way that's going to change my life, someone else's life, the life of the person it's impacted. I don't know. I don't know what that is for you. Only you know what that is. But take 3 moments in your life where you feel like you kind of felt that hit, and document it, write it down, revisit the moment, sit in it a little bit. Feel that energy start to come back. And once you do that, take action on it immediately. You have the power to accomplish anything in life that you want to. You can't allow the outside and the exterior forces to keep you from becoming who you are meant to be and who you are designed to become. Even in the womb, God knew who you were meant to be before you even a thought, before you even existed. So my challenge to you is take those 3 experiences, feel it, experience it again, journal it, write it down, and then use that fuel to go create a life full of purpose. Can't wait to see what that does for you. And until next time, stay mission driven.